Let's get it. Bitcoin has taken a tumble. Was this the final shakeout before the big break to the upside? We will take a quick look at the charts and see what is most likely for Bitcoin here in the near future. So let's go. What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Cabin. My name is Tom, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at some Bitcoin technical analysis specifically to try to tell where Bitcoin is going to go here in the near future. If you're new to this channel, please scroll on down, leave this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and then check out the notification bell and select all so you get notified for when I post these new videos. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the new year, so let's try to do that. Every subscriber, every like, every comment helps so much. Let's try to grow this channel as best we can. Thank you so much, team. Appreciate each and every one of you. But without any further ado here, let's jump right in. Bitcoin has taken a tumble here over the last few hours. So this is on the daily chart, but even if you take a look at the last 4 hours or so, Bitcoin's dump was quite significant. If we take a look at the dump now, since the very peak of that we're at right around 69K, we have dumped basically exactly 25%. So the 25 to 30% ranges were basically a staple in the previous bull cycle. We have hit 25% on that one, and it was basically the exact same sort of dump that we saw back in September. We hit a 25% dump back there as well. So this is looking very similar to what happened back here in September. Will we see a big bounce off of this upward sloping support line? We already have started to see one. It did come all the way down to just under 52,000, right around 51.7, and we have bounced back up very nicely back to just under $54,000. So what happened? Well, most signs are pointing to the variant, but it's also not just crypto that is suffering. It is the NASDAQ, Dow Jones are all trending downwards, but obviously whatever happens to the typical stock market or traditional markets, crypto seems to get hit quite a bit harder because they are seen as more risky assets, and whenever there is fear, uncertainty, or doubt, people tend to move away from riskier assets and tend to go back to cash for a little bit, which cash is getting more and more risky to me, but it's always good to have some on hand to buy up these sorts of dips when they do come. So there is this threat from the Omicron variant, which has landed in different areas of the United States and Canada as well. Last time there was, news of the pandemic or the flu. I can't say the word. I don't want to say the word. Last time there was word of that, it was the first time, right? So it dropped from, or Bitcoin at least dropped from about $10,000 all the way down to about right around $4,000. So that was about a 60% drop. I'm not expecting that type of drop to come down further. Throughout this whole period, there's been different variants that have come out. There was a Delta variant. We didn't drop quite that far. We now have this Omicron variant where we have dropped a little bit since then, but we are still in the upward sloping channel. We're still in the descending wedge on the shorter time frame, and we have gotten a very nice bounce. So a while ago, I know I mentioned that we were nearing the bottom, or at least very close. I think when it got down to around 53, 54K, we have had a wick lower, but I mentioned that was a very distinct possibility. Even a wick down into the high 40s was a possibility. This could potentially be the wick that we have been looking for, or that I have personally been expecting and waiting for. This big of a wick is kind of what you want to see when a bottom is in. You see these huge wicks down here. That tells you that we are getting close, or I would say getting close in my opinion. It's also a wick that has bounced off of the upward sloping trend line and the horizontal trend line at around 53K. It is also a wick that bounced off of this upward sloping trend line here, the blue line there, and the horizontal support line, yellow line right there at just under 53K. It is also still within this descending wedge. I know Chris from MM Crypto has been talking about this falling wedge that we've been in for a little while now. It's wicked off of all three of those points, and I remember, I don't know which video it was, talking about the potential of a wick happening right on where all of these support lines converge. Would you look at that? It has happened right there. So I am expecting this to be that last little shakeout to get people super scared. The Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is at a 31 and it updates here in the next couple hours. I'm expecting that to come down even further, people to be in even more fear. And when we enter fear, that is typically a good time to buy. So at these prices, under 54,000, Bitcoin appears to be on sale. This is also talking about that Fear and Greed Index as well, which I could definitely see dropping lower here. So we have strong lower support at 52 to 53K. We talked about that over on this chart as well, right around this horizontal yellow line. But that is where there is a lot of volume support. Should we break down any further, the 200-day moving average is a very strong level, as well as 44.3. So like I said, we could still come down to these levels technically. The 200-day moving average is right around here, the $46,000 mark. That's the one he's talking about, this light blue line right there. And then we have this big support box all the way up from the high 40s down to, right around 44,500, which is pretty much exactly where he is talking about here. Overhead resistance, we have a ton at 60,000, which we have talked about a ton before. Basically, this whole area in between 56 to 60,000 is going to be a area where we could range back and forth between for a while potentially. But the 59 to 60K range is really the level that we are looking to get back above and solidify that as firm support in the future. We have spent some time above there now, which I remember talking about a while ago, needing to spend more time above this $60,000 range. We were able to do it for a while. We have lost that for now. We will need to get back above that before we can be up and off to the races. If we are to go back up and off to the races, they say in this article that we have a lot of similarities to September of 2020-21. It is looking extremely similar. So like I said, the last dump was 25%. This article is showing it at 22.87% right now, but I've shown you that it is more like 25% right now, actually exactly 25% of the dump. So almost the exact same dump from top to bottom, and now we have potentially the same pattern forming. So if what happened after this bottom here were to pan out just like we do over here, then here is what could happen. If we take this fractal, fractals are not obviously 100% accurate, but they can help us show what is possible or what has happened in the past. So if we take this fractal and we lay it over top of where we currently are, you'll see how similar these patterns really were. So we kind of had this first peak, came back down, and then went up for that second peak again, and now we have come back down. So this pattern is showing, it did come a little bit lower, but we could continue trading sideways for a little bit within here, and then we could potentially break out. So just showing you this pattern, very similar. If we were to now go and, extend this fractal and take the whole thing, and then we lay this over top of, like I did before, right around here, then we can see that we could get all the way up here to right around a $90-ish thousand Bitcoin if this fractal were to play out as it has before. Are there any other levels of confluence there? Well, yes, there are. So if we take the fib retracement from the top to the bottom of this level there, then we have a level at the 1.618 right around the $87,000 mark. So this range up in here between 87 and $90-ish thousand is what a lot of people, I'm sure, are looking out for. This is more on a longer time frame. If we were to take the shorter time frame fib retracement from this move here, we could be looking at $79,000 first, between $79,000 and $80,000, and then once again that 2.72 to 2.618 is falling in that range as well. So that is what I am expecting for Bitcoin here in the next little while. Obviously, if this pattern were to play out, it wouldn't happen super quickly, but this happened in the span of, from the end of the end of July to the end of September. So that was 2 months. This pattern, end of September to the end of November, once again about 2 months. So we could see, Bitcoin coming up into that $90,000-ish range into January. And I do think now that this cycle, like many people are talking about, is going to be slightly extended, well, for sure extended further than the end of December, where most people were calling for a top out. And I was thinking along those lines too, mainly just because that is what has happened before. But I've always said that this is the area that we would need to get up to, in my opinion, in order to have this be somewhat of the blow-off top that we've been talking about and looking for. But if we're not near those levels when the end of the year comes, which it doesn't look like is going to happen, then we would need to look at extending cycles, and that is definitely appearing to be playing out. And we will need to look into Q1 or potentially even Q2 of 2022. So there you have it, team. That is it for today. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on Bitcoin. I am currently in a long position that is in profit, was able to pick up some of those wicks that came down, and I have a stop loss set in profit, so we aren't going to lose anything if we do continue down further. Always make sure to set your stop losses and don't put yourself in any unnecessary risk. As always, appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you next time on the next episode from the Crypto Cabin. Let's get it.